This week was an explosive week, and I want to start with the revelation that Joe Biden was using a pseudonym, an alias, emailing while he was vice president, including his son. What's the significance of that revelation?
Well, it's significant. First of all, the fact that he was using a fake name, I think that's symbolic because the Bidens, we found, have 20 fake companies that they were receiving the money from the foreign nationals and then laundering through those fake companies to 9 different Biden family members. But he was using a fake name on a government email because he knew that emails are subject, as you know, to FOIA, to Freedom of Information Act. And he wanted to disguise his communication. And that's what they've done with the money. That's what the bank said with the bank violations. They were trying to disguise where the money was coming from and deceive the IRS so they wouldn't have to pay taxes on it. So Joe Biden has a pattern of deception here. But I think the most alarming part is that Hunter Biden was CC'd on these emails. He was copied on these emails. And the one argument the Democrats, as they continue to move backwards and move the goalpost in their defense of Joe Biden, they said, well, Hunter Biden has nothing to do with the federal government. Then why was he receiving emails about Ukrainian policy right before they were going to fire that prosecutor?
I mean, that really does beg the question. What's the most explosive thing that your committee has uncovered so far? The one that you think is, if there is a smoking gun, what is it?
Well, I think it's the way they were receiving the money. I mean, 20 shell companies. And unfortunately, I've learned we have a financially illiterate media in Washington, D.C. I don't know that they understand the shell company's a fake company. They created 20 fake companies for the sole purpose to receive this money from foreign nationals, because if you're the son of the vice president of the United States or a congressman, you're not supposed to receive money from foreign nationals.
Whoa.
Right.
Yeah.
And they hid it through these shell companies. And then once they transferred the money back and forth, then they would make incremental payments to Biden family members. That's called money laundering. And when you create a bunch of shell companies for the sole purpose of money laundering, that's called racketeering. So the amount of crimes that this Biden family's committed is nearing the dozen mark.
And when we're talking money, how much money are you already seeing in the bank records? Because you've looked at them. Are we talking a few $1,000s? What kind of money are we talking about?
Well, thus far, we've gotten about a third of their bank records because they had so many bank accounts. They had probably close to 40 bank accounts, believe it or not. But I would say at this point, we're right around the $21 million mark.
$21 million.
$21 million. And remember, not only were they not supposed to get this money, not only did they try to hide where the source of the money was, according to the IRS whistleblowers, they didn't pay a penny of taxes on it. So when Joe Biden says we need to double the size of the IRS to go after tax cheats, he doesn't need to look any further than in the White House right now with his own family.
Just go around the Thanksgiving table at the Biden family Thanksgiving and say, everybody ought to pay his fair share. Isn't that the big line that they tell us?
That's what they say, but they certainly have not. And Joe Biden's more than welcome to make his family whole with the IRS. If he wants to increase the tax revenue, he can start at home because they haven't paid a penny of taxes on any of this money. But even more concerning, they should have never gotten the money. And more concerning than that, Governor, somebody should have stopped this. The IRS, the Department of Justice, the FBI, somebody should have put the brakes on this years ago.
When you uncover this stuff, one of the things that has just blown my mind is we're not talking about little bitty things. Over years, lots of money, lots of shell companies, as you have mentioned, and lots of various players, all of whom are being protected by the very agencies that if you were doing that, Congressman, they'd have you in cuffs, raid your house,
absolutely,
have a SWAT team, haul you and give you a perp walk across a federal courthouse in Kentucky.
That's right. We have to disclose if we receive anything over $50. And if our family receives a gift, I believe it's over $200, we have to report that. If we don't, we will get an ethics violation. And once you get an ethics violation in Congress, you're going to be removed from Congress. Or if you make it through the ethics process, the voters are going to vote you out because they don't want a congressman with an ethics violation.
There are a lot of people pushing you and pushing Speaker McCarthy impeach President Biden right away. That has not been your tack. You are conducting the investigations. How does this play out? And how do you keep some folks from just rushing into the impeachment, which wouldn't last 5 minutes in the Senate if it got over there?
That's the thing. I don't think a lot of people understand impeachment. We can impeach, and we could impeach Biden today. The Senate's not going to convict, so he's not going anywhere. All you're doing is taking up floor time, and it's just not going to happen, and people are going to get more upset then. My job is to investigate. And I said when I was named head of this committee and we announced this investigation, I'm going to follow the money. And that's what we're doing. And by following the money, we're running up on people like Devin Archer, who were involved in the business schemes. And we're bringing them in and making them testify under oath as to what crimes were committed and what was really going on. What did the family do to receive the money? And look, everyone we've talked to said the same thing. They were selling access to Joe Biden. Joe Biden was the brand. That should be a problem for every American.
It should be.
Do Americans want their politicians for sale? And I know people say, well, every politician takes special interest money or whatever. That money's disclosed. There are rules and restrictions. The most illegal thing in the world for anyone in Washington is to take money from foreign nationals, from China, from Romania, from Ukraine, from Russia. That's what Biden's done. And it's going to be to the tune of tens of millions of dollars.
I get frustrated. I watch you in a press conference and you lay out specific evidence, bank records, you note them, exactly what you've discovered. And then somebody will turn around in a commentary and say, well, where's the proof? And I'm thinking, did you not just hear the man? Does that frustrate you? It's
so frustrating because Adam Schiff talked about Russian collusion for 2 years. There was never an ounce of evidence, nothing that would show that Trump colluded with Russia. I have produced so many bank records, hundreds of pages of bank records that showed he took money that he wasn't supposed to take. He lied about it. He met with all these people. He said he didn't talk to them. He talked to every one of them. And the most latest revelation is that his son was involved in the communication with the government on what they were going to do to Ukraine. Devin Archer testified that the owners of Burisma were squeezing Hunter Biden to call Washington, D.C. for help. Now, who would Hunter Biden call in Washington, D.C. for help? His father, who was vice president. And his father, 5 days later, flies to Ukraine and fires the prosecutor who's investigating his son, Hunter Biden, for corruption in Ukraine. And now we find emails where they were communicating along the way. So I think the evidence is pretty overwhelming, but it's still not enough for some in the mainstream media.
I just have to believe that there will come a moment at which the light goes on for at least a few reporters and even some Democrats who will say Joe Biden has crossed a bridge too far. Congressman, I just want to tell you, I said this before, I want to say it again. You are a hero to the people of America. I don't care what their politics are, because you're going after what is just unacceptable corruption and looking for the truth and letting it take you where you lead. I hope you sleep with one eye open every single night. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you.
If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I hope you will now. The button is just below this video, and there's a little bell next to it. If you click on those, YouTube will reluctantly start letting you know when we've got a new video uploaded.